Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take your source material, really get into it, and pull out the most essential insights for you. So have you ever had that feeling, you're staring out the window, just watching the world rush by, all the noise, the speed, these images of perfect lives flashing past, and you get this anchorless feeling, like, is my own path missing something? Is this it? If that sounds familiar, then this deep dive is definitely for you.
Is such a universal feeling. And today, we're diving right into that experience, using some incredible excerpts from Ashreinu, The Power of Inward Focus, by Rabbi Shlomo Ezagui. Our mission here is to really unpack his argument that this inward focus, it isn't about retreating from the world. It's actually the anchor you need to find stability in, all the chaos and comparison of modern life.
And the title itself, Ashreinu, it sets the tone right away.
It really does. It's a word from the daily prayers, and it translates to something like, how fortunate are we, how good is our portion, how beautiful is our heritage. It's a declaration that you're already complete.
Which is a pretty radical idea when the whole world is telling you you're not. So the source sets this up as a kind of intellectual battle. It talks about students from, say, a traditional background.
Exactly. Students of traditional Judaism is the example used, but it applies to anyone with a strong heritage. They suddenly encounter this vast world outside of their upbringing.
And they see the neon lights blinking, which is such a great phrase.
It is. These other cultures, other ideas,
Oh.
It looks so exciting, so new. And the conflict starts right there. Is what I have enough? Or do I need to look somewhere else to, supplement it? Or even replace it?
Right. And the argument in the source isn't that the outside world is bad, necessarily.
No, not at all. It's more that its promises can be, well, a bit superficial. They look amazing on the surface, but they might lack real depth, real substance.
It's that initial shine that gets you.
Precisely. And so the whole educational task, the spiritual task, is to redirect your attention. Not to look out and pull things in, but to turn around and look in. To really become convinced on every level that the richness you're looking for, it was there all along.
Yeah.
In your own foundation.
And there's this one story in the text that just perfectly captures that exact pivot point. It's unforgettable.
It's a fantastic teaching, and it comes from Rabbi Shmuel Betzalel Sheftel. He was the tutor for the young Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson, who would later become the sixth Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Oh.
So the story is, the young Yosef Yitzchak is just staring out the window, lost in thought, watching the world go by. His teacher sees this, calls him over, and tells him something that, as he later said, left a deep and lasting impression.
Okay, so what was it? What was the lesson?
The teacher told him, it is much better to be on the outside, even if only in the mind, looking inward, than to remain inside while constantly looking out and dreaming of something else.
Wow. That reframes everything. It's not about where your body is. It's about where your mind is looking.
It's all about the direction of your gaze. And what's so fascinating is how much this connects with, of all things, modern psychology. Carl Jung had that famous line.
Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes.
That's the one. This spiritual teaching is essentially a call to wake up, to stop dreaming, stop comparing yourself to the outside, and let your actual true identity come to the surface.
Okay, so this brings up a really important question for me and probably for a lot of you listening. When we start talking about these ancient patterns like numbers and then try to map them onto modern science, isn't there a risk of just seeing what we want to see? Confirmation bias.
That is the crucial question, and the source actually leans into it. The argument is that if a spiritual framework is actually true, if it reflects reality, then it has to be reflected in the material world. Science shouldn't contradict it, it should corroborate it.
So it's not a leap of faith, it's a search for coherence.
Exactly, coherence. And the text argues that this coherence is demonstrated most powerfully through this recurring numerical pattern of 3 and 4.
So let's start with the mystical side. Where does this 3 and 4 pattern first show up in Jewish tradition?
It shows up at the very, very source, in the essential divine name, which is made up of 4 Hebrew letters. Mystically, this name isn't just a label, it's a formula for how an infinite God creates a finite universe.
I see.
And that 4-letter name is traditionally split into 2 groups. You have the first letter, which stands for the infinite transcendent source, and then the other 3 letters, which represent the stages of creation unfolding from that source.
So it's a single point of origin and a 3-part process of expression, 1 plus 3.
You've got it. The whole thing is 4, but its internal dynamic is 1 plus 3. And once you see that archetype, you start seeing it everywhere.
Like where?
Well, the 4 levels of the soul, the 4 rungs on Jacob's ladder, the 4 stages of prayer. They're all structured around this idea of a totality of four, which contains a functional triad, a three-part process. It suggests it's a blueprint.
Okay, that makes the jump to the physical world feel much less random. If it's a blueprint, we should find it in the building materials. Where do we look first?
We can start with the most fundamental level, quantum physics. The universe, as we know it, is governed by four fundamental forces.
Gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces.
Right, those are the four. But then if you look at how energy actually behaves at the atomic level, the main energy levels are defined by three quantum numbers. So you have a universe built on four forces operating within a triadic energy system.
That's a pretty stunning parallel. The 1+3 structure again, four total forces, three functional elements.
It is.
Yeah.
But the source then takes it a step further, and this is where it gets really personal. It quotes the book of Job. From my flesh I behold God. The idea is that if this pattern is universal, it has to be in us too.
In our own bodies.
In our own bodies. And it is. Think about the two centers of our life force, the heart and the brain. The heart, simple enough, has four chambers, a fourfold structure right at the core of our physical life.
Okay.
But the brain is where the pattern becomes just undeniable. On the largest scale, the brain has three major functional regions.
The cerebrum for higher thought.
The cerebellum for motor control and balance, and then the brainstem, which handles all the basic life support functions, a foundational triad.
Three regions for mind, movement, and life.
And it goes even deeper. If you zoom in on just the brainstem, the most ancient essential part, it's also made of three parts: the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata.
So it's a pattern within a pattern.
Exactly.
Oh.
The rule of three, layered on itself, running the absolute core functions of your body without you even thinking about it.
Okay, so that's the three. That's the deep internal life-sustaining structure. Where does the four come in?
And this is the most beautiful part of the argument. The four emerges in the part of the brain that deals with the outside world, the cerebral cortex, the wrinkled outer layer that handles conscious thought and perception.
And the cortex has?
Four primary lobes. The frontal lobe, for your reasoning and executive decisions. The parietal lobe, which processes sensory information, touch, temperature. The temporal lobe, for hearing and memory. And the occipital lobe, which is all about vision.
So let me get this straight. The deep internal autonomic functions are structured in threes. But the part of us that looks out, that reasons, that processes the external world, that's structured in fours.
That's the profound unity the source is pointing to. The inner self is triadic. The interface with the world is based on a structure of four. It's the exact same blueprint we saw in the divine name.
Mind and matter, spirit and body, all built on the same architectural plan.
The most complex object in the known universe, your brain, reflects the same deep structure that ancient mysticism has been talking about for centuries. It's an incredible coherence.
Which brings it all back to that original conviction. The call to look inward isn't just a nice spiritual idea. It's almost a biological imperative. The wisdom is literally built into our anatomy. It makes that word, Ashreinu, how beautiful is our heritage, feel so much more grounded. It's not just beautiful, it's true, all the way down to the cellular level.
Right. The Creator's presence is encoded in the creation. So that call to look inward becomes a call to recognize what's already there, not to limit yourself, but to find yourself. And I guess that leads us to the final thought for you, the listener. If the very architecture of the universe in your own brain confirms this ancient wisdom about looking inward,
then what external image, what glittering promise of completeness out there are you comparing yourself to right now? What dream is distracting you from waking up to the incredible, complex richness that's already built into your own foundation? That inward structure is just waiting for you to turn your attention to it.